Okay, so we are going to make some more decorations for our fall garlands, right? We have some pretty leaves, we have some mushrooms, we have a pumpkin, and today I would like to show you how to make the scarecrow. I just made it. Um, and I think he's kind of cute. I've never made one of these before. So let's go ahead and see if we can make one together. All right. So what you're going to need to make this guy here is you're going to need some yarn, some bits of yarn here. You don't need a lot. And a crochet hook, a stitch marker, and a tapestry needle. And I also use some fabric glue here, um, some Eileen's fabric glue, um, because as you can see, mine is still a little bit wet and I didn't want the, I've never made this before, so I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out. So I just put the glue to make sure that it didn't come apart. So this is how I made my little scarecrow. I'm not sure if it looks like a scarecrow or not, but I'm going to show you how to make it. Do with it what you like, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and get started with like this golden color. For this, I'm using Red Heart Super Saver. For the one I made here, I used, yeah, I used the Karen Little Crafters. And this yarn is a little bit, it's softer. And so I double stranded it when I was using this yarn. But I'm going to go ahead and use the Red Heart yarn because it's a little stiffer, and I think it's better for making things like this because, like I said, it's a little stiffer, and I'm not going to double strand it because it is thick enough. So we'll get started. I'm using, there's no colors on here, so I can't tell you which colors, but you go ahead and use whatever color you want, whatever color you think. You know what, I think I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna use this brown color for the scarecrow. Okay, so I'm going to start with a magic loop. Okay, and I'm going to start with the traditional way to make a flat circle. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the timestamps on the bottom. Okay, so that you can skip ahead or rewind to the parts that you want to. So I'm starting with the sliding loop. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 6 single crochets into my loop. You don't have to use a sliding loop. You can use whatever method you want. Okay, it really doesn't matter. This isn't an article of clothing. This doesn't have to be a precise thing. It's just for decoration. So whatever method you're comfortable using. And I'm using a 5.5mm hook. See which hook you like. Depends on which yarn you're using. If you want it a little bit tighter, go down a hook size from what the yarn recommends, okay? So I have, let me see how many I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to go ahead and count that again. I'm going to pull my loop closed, and I'm going to make sure that I have 6, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, I'm not going to join this. I'm going to use a spiral method, okay? So I'm just going to pull this closed, and I'm going to take my stitch marker and I'm going to mark off this last stitch that I worked in because I'm not joining it. Just because, no reason, just because I want to try something different. Okay, so now we have 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so in this first stitch here, I'm going to put 2 single crochets. Here's, oh, and it's tight. If your stitches are too tight, what I like to do is I like to take my crochet hook and push it up, because usually my crochet hooks have this little wide part here, and what that does is it loosens the stitch for me. So I'm going to go, see, it worked, and I'm going to make 1 single crochet, and I like to crochet over my ends so I don't have to work them in later. And then here's 2 single crochets. Okay, and I'm going to do that in all 6 stitches for a total of 12. Okay, so in every single crochet stitch, I'm going to do 2, and that's going to give me 12. So I'm going to meet you at the end of this round. Okay. Okay, so now I've gone all the way around and I'm at my stitch marker. That was the last stitch. That means that I do have to make 2 single crochets in here, because that was the last stitch from the previous round. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Okay, and then I'm going to place my stitch marker in the last stitch that I did. So I've completed round 2, and I'm going to go on to round 3. Pull out some yarn. Okay, so for the next round, I'm going to do 2 single crochets in the first stitch, and then 1 single crochet in the next one. And then in the next one, 2 single crochets, and then 1 single crochet. And we're going to do that all the way around. We're going to do 2 single crochets and 1 single crochet all the way around, okay? And I will meet you back at the stitch marker. Okay, so we've got 1 stitch and then a stitch with the stitch marker. So I'm going to go ahead and make 2 single crochets. And then in that last stitch where I have my stitch marker, I'm going to take it out and I'm going to make 1 single crochet. And then I've completed round 3. Okay. Now, if you're using thicker yarn, this is going to be bigger. If you're using smaller yarn, it's going to be smaller. Single crochet is a pretty small stitch, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and let me see how many rounds I did here. I did 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do 1 more round, okay? So I'm going to do 2 single crochets in my first stitch. 1, 2. And then 1 in each stitch. Hold on, let me just pull out some yarn here. And then 1 single crochet in this stitch and 1 single crochet in the next stitch. Okay, let's try that one more time. We're going to do 2 single crochets, 1, 2, and then we're going to do 1 in the third one, and 1 in the fourth one. Here we go. Okay, let's try that again. 2, 1, 2, and then in the next 2 we're going to do 1. And then you're going to do that all the way around. If you're confused about how to make a flat panel, I'm going to put that in the description box as well, okay? Just in case you want to make this a little bit larger, go ahead and check out that video and it will tell you how to make this bigger, because you might not want to just hang it. You might want to make a placemat or something with it, and that video will go ahead and show you how to make this bigger. Okay, so I'll meet you when I get to the stitch marker. Okay, so we're almost up to the last one. So I'm going to do 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to do a 1 here. And if this is the size that I want, and it is, okay, since this is the size that I want, in this last stitch here, I'm going to make a slip stitch, okay? That's just so the stitch set will be even. You see how that worked out? You see that? And then I'm just going to pull it out. All right, so this is the size I want. If I wanted it bigger, I would just go ahead and make another round. And again, I'll put the video in the description for you on how to make this larger. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this off. And this will be step 1, making the face. Where are my scissors? Here we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut this off. All right. And so now we have the face. Okay, so what I'm gonna do next is I'm actually going to do the face. All right, so might as well do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and use some black yarn for the face. You can use whatever color. The colors I'm using are just suggestions. As you see, I made this one in a different color. And I'm just gonna pull out some yarn. I don't know, 12 inches, maybe a little bit longer, maybe 18. I'm not sure. I'm not good with deciding how much yarn to pull out. Where is my needle? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and thread this needle. If the thread is a little bit too big for your needle, here's a trick. You take it and you put it on the outside and then you pinch it, like rubbing it against the needle a little bit, and that will flatten it. And then you should be able to push the thread. Then you should be able to push that thread right in. Okay, see? Or whatever method you want, whatever works for you. That's a trick that works for me, especially if I'm like beading stuff. Oh, this is an amazing trick. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if we can embroider the face. Okay, now you can go ahead and use any embroidery method you want. And I'm not sure how well this is going to turn out. As I keep saying, I've never done this before. So let's see if we can do this. So I tried to make some X's for the eyes. All right. You don't have to do that. You can try, as I said, you can do whatever you want. So what I did is I'm going to come in here. Yeah, that looks about right. I'm going to come in here. Okay, and I'm going to leave myself a tail to tie or weave in or whatever. And then I'm going to make the first part of the X. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find that space and I'm going to go into it here. And I'm going to come out this way, right next to it. Okay. If you have your own embroidery method, feel free to go to the next part of the video. And I'm going to pull it, but not too tight. So I have the first part of my X right there. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to make the second part of the X and I'm going to insert my needle here. See? Now I have what appears to be an X for the eye. I'm going to go ahead and try and make another X for the other eye. Let's see if I can get this to go right for me. So I'm going to find another space here. Okay. Again, I'm not sure if this is going to work out. I'm doing this with you. I'm going to find the space here and go across that way. Pull that out. Okay. And then I'm going to go over it and put my needle in there. I do know how to embroider, but I have not done it in a long time, so it is not my thing. So hopefully that looks like an X or whatever you want it to be. It could be a circle, it could be a U, whatever you want to do. Okay. Now I'm going to make the mouth. Okay. And I'm not going to cut this is why I left such a large loop on my needle here. And for this one, I just used a simple back stitch to make the mouth. You can make X's, you can make a chain stitch, whatever you want to do. So I'm going to make a back stitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, Should I make it a little bit higher? Maybe I'll make it a little bit higher. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert my needle here. Okay. And then I'm going to skip this circle. I'm going to skip this space here. And I'm going to go into this one. And then I'm going to come out that one. All right. Again, I'm not a good embroiderer. If you have a better method, go ahead. If you want to learn a different way, go ahead. You do you. If you want to draw it, if you want to crochet it, however you feel comfortable. And then I'm going to go and look for the space next to it, and I'm going to come out that first one here. Okay? I want it to look a little weird. Then I'm not going to go in this one. I'm going to go into that one, the one next to it. And there you go. If you want it bigger or longer or shorter, whatever you want to do. Okay, so it looks different than this one. It looks different than this one, but I'm okay with it. No two are going to look alike, I'm thinking. And that's the whole point of it. Okay, and so for me, I am done with my mouth. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to tie a knot in the back here. I'm going to double the knot, and then when I'm done making the whole thing, I am going to put some glue on there. I'm going to weave in my ends and put some glue. So I'm going to cut that off, and I'm going to leave this for the next one that I make, maybe. Okay, so now we have the face. Okay. Okay, next part. We're going to attach the hair. Before we do the hat, I'm going to go ahead and try and make the hair. That was interesting, making the hair. So I'm going to use the yellow to make the hair for this one. So now I have this. I have my little piece of yarn. I have it doubled. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert my hook from back to front. I'm going to find a stitch. You can turn it around. I'm going to insert my hook from back to front. I'm going to grab the loop. Okay, and I'm going to pull it through. Then I'm going to grab both pieces of yarn and I'm going to pull it through, kind of like when you're making a single crochet. Now you can do this with a sewing needle, or you can do it with whatever you want, okay? And there you go. You have some hair, okay? So I'm going to do that. Let's try that again. I'm only going to do like 4 strands of hair. Doesn't really need a lot. If you want more, you go ahead. If you want less, you go ahead and do that too. If you want to, what would be really cool is like a multicolored yarn that has different like earth tones in it and stuff. That would look really cool to make the hair. Oh, I split the stitch. Hold on, let's try that again. Okay, let's grab it, pull it through. Now you don't have to use a crochet hook. You can do it by hand. You can use a sewing needle, whatever you want to do. It's just, this is the way that I wanted to do it. Okay, so I think for this one I only did 2 on each side, so let me go ahead and do that. And it can be as long and as short as you want. I'm going to go ahead and cut the last one as well. Look, I'm not even going to be paying attention to it. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to insert my hook on the other side. I'm going to make the other 2 because it's going to have a hat. And if you want more hair, go ahead and add more hair. You can put more than one of these in a stitch. That's okay too. Make it fuller. You can go crazy here. Oh, she looks like she has pigtails. Hold on. She looks like she has some pigtails. That'll work too. Like she has two little pigtails. Now let me go ahead and make the last one here. Really? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make the last one. Bring in there. Pull it out. Okay. All right. Okay. So if it needs more, then I'm going to go ahead and add more, but I think that this is fine. So we're going to go ahead and make the hat and then we'll be done. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started on the next part, which is, so this is what we have so far. And we're going to go ahead and make the hat. All right. Okay. Let's get started. So for the hat, I'm going to go back to the hook I was using before. Okay. I don't remember which one I was using. I think it was this one. And I'm going to choose something different here. I'm going to choose maybe this bluish color. Okay. Because why not? Let me move these over. And let's go ahead and get started making the hat. All right. So we're going to start making this. And here's how we're going to start. Again, it can be as big or as small as you want. You can use a thicker yarn, make a really thick hat. You can make a thinner yarn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chain 7 or 9. Let me see how it looks. First, I'm going to go ahead. Let me chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so let me see. Now I want it a little bit bigger. 9. 9 is good. So if you're making these bigger, you are going to have to make the hat a little bit bigger, but it's going to be the same principle, okay? You're just going to make the chain as long as you want it. See, I want mine to hang. Okay. So I want mine to hang off of the edge of the face here, okay? So I want it a little bit bigger. All right, I'm going to do one more. So I have 10, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to single crochet all the way down. So I'm going to single crochet, and this is going to be like the brim of the hat. I'm going to single crochet all the way down. And I need another color. Single. Single. Okay, I'm going to single crochet all the way down. Now, remember this is supposed to be a hat for a scarecrow. So it's okay if it doesn't come out perfect. As a matter of fact, if it looks wonky, it's going to be good. So don't worry about it. You can use a smaller hook size if you want it to be a little bit tighter. That's up to you. So I'm going to single crochet all the way to the end. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it. And I'm going to slip stitch. Slip stitch. And slip stitch. And then I am going to, I'm going to slip stitch in here as well. To the third stitch, slip stitch, and I'm going to chain 2. I'm going to chain 2. 1, 2. And I'm going to double crochet into that same stitch right here. I'm going to double crochet, or you can do a triple crochet, whatever you want to do. That's going to be fun because you can make all the hats different too. You can make all the faces different. You can make all the hats different. And I'm going to double crochet here. I really like this color. And you're going to double crochet in here. And one more double crochet. Okay, here we go. All right. And I'm going to do one more double crochet right in here. And I'm going to do a chain 3 as well. 1, 2, 3. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip stitch into that same stitch that I did my double crochet. Okay. And there you go. Okay. If you want, you can go ahead and add another row of double crochets or single crochets or whatever you want. This is just a basic idea. Then I'm going to slip stitch in the last 2 stitches. And I'm going to finish it off because I'm done with my hat. So obviously, if you made the face larger, you're going to need to make the hat larger. Okay. And if you would like a video on a larger scarecrow face, let me know. It's okay. And then you're gonna weave these in. Okay. So let me go ahead and weave these in, and I'll meet you back in a minute. Okay. Okay. So I've weaved in my tails for my hat. This is the back. This is the front. Doesn't really matter. So what I'm gonna do is what color? What color? How about this blue color here? I'm going to use this blue color. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do with this. I don't want to sew anything on. So I'm going to use a top stitch. Let me show you how to do a top stitch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this hair forward. What you can do is you can use, where are my clips? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these clips here and I'm going to hold the hair in the front. Okay. See? Just so that it won't be in the way when I am sewing the hat on. These clips are amazing. I love them. I use them for sewing. I actually use them for markers on my page, my patterns. Okay. Okay. So the hair's in the front, all out of the way, and we are now going to get ready to attach the hat. Again, if you wanted to make the hat larger, you could have added another row of single crochet or double crochet, whatever you want to do. I'm not sure if this looks like a scarecrow, but you learn. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this color and I'm going to make a slip knot. And I'm going to make we're going to do a top stitch, a chain top stitch here. Now you could glue the hat on. That's a possibility too. All right, that's something that you can do. But I wanted to, let me show you. See how I added the top stitch there? Okay. Maybe I should have made the hat a little bigger. Maybe I could have done a treble crochet. That's okay. In the next one, I'll do that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert my hook maybe here. I'm going to find the space. Let me do that with a smaller hook. Okay. It's easier with a smaller hook. It'll go right through the stitches. Let me try this one. Okay. So because the stitches, see, look at that. Look at the difference. I have to tug and make this a little tighter. It's going to be easier to go into the holes with a smaller hook. You see? Okay. So I'm going to go from the front to the back here. Then I'm going to find a space here about where I'm going to try and get those stitches to be this way. I'm going to go and I'm going to find the space here, like in between where the hair is, in that space there. See? And I'm going to yarn over and pull it through all of that and through to the hat. I know that was a lot and I'll do it again. Then I'm going to lift this loop up and I'm going to pull it through that first loop. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and weave this in later. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into my next one and I'm going to find the next stitch up here. And I want to, you don't have to go through this stitch here. It's okay. I'm just doing it so that my hair won't unravel, but you don't have to go through the hair. You can go right into the stitch. It's okay. Grab the yarn, pull it through the head, and pull it through the hat. And pull it up, and pull it through the loop. And pull it up, okay? So it's going to make a smaller chain because I'm using a smaller hook. For the first one that I made, I did use the same size. Again, it's experimentation, and try different things, see which one you like. How does it look? How does it feel? I'm going to look for the next stitch, the next hole right in here. I'm going to look for the next stitch in my head right here. Pull up the yarn through both. Again, you can glue this on or you can sew it on, whatever you want to do. I just wanted to try the top stitch because I liked it. And you pull this up, and pull it through. Okay, let's go ahead and finish this up because we are just about done. Let's go ahead, look for the next hole. Look for the next space in your hat, in your head. Pull it through the head, pull it through the hat, pull it up, and then pull it through. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish that up. I'm going to go into where the hair is. I'm going to pull it through and pull it through and pull it through. Okay, now I'm using completely different yarn and a completely different hook, so it's going to look different than the first one I made, and that's okay. They're not supposed to look the same. I'm going to go ahead and do one more stitch. I'm going to insert my hook here. I'm going to go on the other side of the hair. I'm going to pull it through. I'm going to pull it through the hat, pull it up, and there you go. Then I'm going to finish it off with the knot, and then I'm going to weave it in. Okay, let me cut this off. Let me give myself enough of a tail to work that in later. Let me remove these guys here, and there you go. So this is my second scarecrow face. This is my first scarecrow face. You decide which one you like better. And don't forget, like and subscribe. And if you want to know how to, make other things, check out one of these other videos. And I hope that you make a lot of these, okay? Te veo.